Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. How are you? I am Scott Pinyard. I am the head coach of This Naked Mind, and I am here to go live and talk to you about something that's been on my mind, like I do every Sunday. A little late today, actually. It was like a nice day outside, so I've been enjoying it. But I wanted to talk to you today about this concept of progress. And actually, what I want to do is I want to tie this in with the last few lives that I've done. So if you've seen those where I talked about failure and I talked about motivation, I want to tie all of this together because I think it's super important that people get an idea in their mind of what progress is, right? What is progress that they're expecting? What does it look like? What does it feel like? Awesome. So I'm going to dive into that in a second. I just got my iPad set up. See, I could see now I can see Maria's comment. Yes, I was going to go live today, but like I said, it's been a long day. Happy Sunday to you, Haley. Good to see you. Good to see you. Before I dive into what I want to talk about today, I want to invite you to check out our latest book. It is called Naked Life Stories, and it is more than 40 stories of people who have changed their relationship with alcohol with this naked mind. Now, I want to tell you a story about my own journey when I started. Actually, my story's in this book too, but when I actually made the transition to go alcohol free, one thing that I did and it was a game changer for me. I had this little headset. It was like a Bluetooth headset. I was on the phone a lot in my old job. And so I had this little Bluetooth headset and I would keep that stuck in my ear. And I just listened over and over and over and over to this podcast. It's called Recovery Elevator, if you don't know about it. That was just people's quit stories, just over and over and over all day long. I must have listened to so many of those. Hearing those stories and hearing different people's backgrounds and what they did and how they got through something that I was dealing with at the time was so immensely satisfying for me. It was so huge. And so I want to offer you guys today a free copy of the book Naked Life Stories. All you have to do is go to nakedlifestories.com. The book is there. It's totally free. You can go to Amazon and buy it as well if you would like. But as you know, I would rather give it to you for free. So it's nakedlifestories.com. Go check it out. And trust me, it's absolutely worth your time to read. All right. So progress. This is such a messy word. Oh, and actually, before I dive in, one last thing too. I want to invite you, ask me questions, tell me your thoughts, tell me what's up, say hello, whatever you want to do. I like to make these as interactive as possible. So progress. One of the questions that I get probably some of the most often, that kind of makes sense. One of the questions I get very, very, very frequently. Hey, Amanda. Yeah, welcome. I hope you enjoy it. One of the questions I get very frequently is it'll be a statement like this, like I keep trying and I'm not making any progress, right? I'm not getting where I want to go. I don't know. My hearing aids, Bluetooth podcasts, and baseball games. That's so awesome, Diane. Actually, sorry, digression again. Friends of ours have a child with cochlear implants, and his does Bluetooth as well. So when he has to listen to music, and parents can just put it on and he hears it and they don't. It's awesome. Anyway, sorry. So we have this idea of progress. And so we keep saying, okay, I want to get here, right? My goal is to be alcohol free. My goal is to change things. And they'll come to me and they'll say things like, Scott, I've tried so many different things. I've been trying for years. I'm not making progress. I'm not getting the result. And the fact of the matter is very often we define progress as a very specific state. So to give you an example, when it comes to quitting alcohol, we define progress as being totally alcohol free. That's what people say. That's what they mean. And so what they'll say is they'll say, Scott, I've done the live alcohol experiment. I've been watching your lives. I've read the books. I've done this. I've done that. And I'm not making progress. The problem with this statement is progress isn't an end point. And that's what I want people to understand, right? Progress isn't an end point. Progress isn't achieving your goal. Progress is moving forward. And so some of these lives that I've done over the last couple of weeks of talking about failure, right? And reframing failure not as the end of the line, not as something that is one and done, that like you fail and then it's over, but instead as a learning experience, right? And then also looking at the fact that motivation as an emotion, right, as a thing will come and go for us, right? This is all part of the journey. And so all of these things that people say when they say, oh, I haven't made progress, they're thinking, oh, well, I didn't say alcohol free for long enough. I didn't engage enough, right? I didn't get to where I wanted to go because I'm not making progress. And I want to talk you through, I have just this sort of example of what I'm talking about. And I understand this idea is kind of out there a little bit, but go with me on it, right? So I was working with a person one time, and I clearly remember she said to me, I am so excited. I'm going to quit alcohol. This is going to be amazing, right? I'm going to quit. I'm going to do it. I'm feeling great, right? There's the motivation. Then she studies the videos and she gets to a point where she's ready to quit alcohol. She quits alcohol. And then 3 days later, she quote unquote fails, right? I hit a wall. Well, okay. Then a little more time goes by and she gets motivated again. She's like, all right, Scott, now is the time. This is the time I'm going to do it, right? She gets all motivated again. There's another phase of motivation. Then she does it again. Then she goes 3 or 4 days, right? And then boom, hits the wall again. It fails again, right? Now we're in the fourth phase of this. And then she loses motivation completely, right? Like disengages from where she wants to go, continues to drink, doesn't feel like this is ever going to change for her. And then as time goes on, slowly but surely, motivation comes back, right? She starts to feel it again. And then boom, she's motivated. And then bam, she quits again, right? So now we're into the fifth phase. And when I'm saying phases, I'm talking about being motivated, being demotivated, deciding to make the change, not making the change. This is what happens, right? And I could go on and on and on with this. I can tell you in my own journey, right? The average amount of time that people will take to go through this process will be 5 to 6 years. It depends on what study you look at. During those 5 to 6 years, motivation is going to come and go. Quit attempts are going to happen. Speed bumps are going to happen. The one thing that drives me crazy, like honestly, if you want to like know a way to start getting me upset, the one thing that drives me crazy is when someone says, I've tried so many things and I haven't made progress. Right? I've gone through so many programs. I've tried so many different ways. I've done hypnosis, I've done the alcohol experiment, I've done the intensive, I've done this, I've done that, I've tried cold turkey, I've tried, white knuckling it, right? All of these things. This drives me nuts because people aren't giving themselves the credit for where they're at. And so what I want to suggest to you today, and what I want to give you today as something to keep in mind. And again, I want to ask you guys, please send me questions, talk to me. I want to hear from you as I'm going through this. But what I want to suggest to you today is that every single piece of that journey, from when you got motivated and when you felt great, to when you lost that motivation and you didn't feel great, to when you went a week alcohol free and then had that one night where you drank, right? Every single piece of that journey is progress. There isn't a way to not make progress, right? Progress is inevitable. Progress is going to happen unless you know how to stop time, in which case, tell me, because that's friggin' amazing and I'm really interested in what that might be like. But unless you know how to stop time, you are going to keep feeling. Those feelings are going to keep changing. Motivation is going to come and go. Quit attempts are still going to happen. Every single piece of this journey is progress, right? Every single day that you're thinking about this is progress. Every single day you're alcohol free is progress. Every single time you're alcohol free for a while and then you have a data point is progress, right? This is what I've been trying to get through over the last couple of weeks, is that honestly, watching this video is progress. Thinking about making that change is progress. Making that change is progress. Getting yourself in a better frame of mind is progress. And so often when people come to me and they say, Scott, I haven't made progress, it makes me sad. And it makes me sad because I know what effort is, or what effort this takes, right? I know exactly how it feels to be putting all of this effort in and then to be telling ourselves, oh, you're not making progress. There was a period of time I'm going to try to say this without getting emotional, but there was a period of time when I tried to quit drinking. This was before I found This Naked Mind, and I really, really wanted to. I really wanted to make a change, right? Like I was just getting so frustrated, and I had in my wallet, I had a piece of paper. It had my wife's name on it, and my daughter's name on it, and my son's name on it. And I remember very clearly I was in O'Hare Airport, which is in Chicago here in the United States. I had had a couple of days on the road, and I had stayed mostly alcohol free. And then I just felt like, oh, I'm getting on this plane ride. It's a 3 hour plane ride home. And I really thought about having a drink. And so this piece of paper was something that I would pull out and I would look at. And I remember looking at that piece of paper and thinking to myself, you're not making any progress. You're not making any progress for them. And guess what I did? I went and ordered a drink. And guess how I felt? I felt awful. I felt like I was letting those three names on that piece of paper down. I felt like I felt like I wasn't going to ever make progress. So why try? And the thing is, now I can look back on that and I can see how those few days previous were progress, how every book I was reading was progress, how all of the work I was trying to do was progress. Now, at the time, when I'm in the middle of it, you don't see it that way, right? You're feeling it, you're experiencing it, but you're not actually making progress, right? According to the way that we're talking. But here's the thing, right? Every single attempt, you learn something. Every single thought you have, you learn something, right? That day in O'Hare Airport, for me, I learned something, right? You know what I learned that day? I learned that trying to beat myself up might not be the best way of going about this. Because guess what happens when I beat myself up? When I beat myself up, I wanted to drink more. I wanted to run away from that. So, what I want to offer to you today is that progress is not linear. See, we have this idea, and so many people have this idea that, like, I'm going to make up my mind to quit drinking and then I'm going to stop. Easy, right? Like, it's so easy, right? And the same thing is true with so many other things too, right? Like, I'm going to make up my mind to lose weight and then I'm just going to. I'm going to make up my mind to quit smoking and then I'm just going to, right? We tell ourselves this, but it's complete and total bullshit. Like, pardon the language. Um, it's not how it works. It's not how anything works. And I suggest that you spend a little time looking at any other thing you've done in your life. It's very, very, very rarely a straight line, from I'm going to quit drinking and then here I go, right? The journey is full of so many ups and downs, right? The journey is full of setbacks. The journey is full of good days and bad days, and I guess medium days and boring days and exciting days. The journey is full of successes and failures. You guys know how I feel about that already. And so when someone says to me, Scott, I'm not making progress, I have to stop the conversation and I have to point out to them all of the different things that they're doing, right? All of the different ways that they're trying to engage and change their journey, all of the things that they're trying to do to actually get to where they want to go. And very often, the idea of progress, meaning moving forward, right? And you can make progress in leaps and bounds, and you can take baby steps. But the idea of progress for a lot of people gets confused with achievement, right? So there's this idea of like, oh, I want to make progress. I decide today, and then I quit drinking, and then that's it. And it's linear and it's not difficult. That's not how it works. And so if that's what you're expecting, right? If you're approaching this process thinking like, hey, I'm going to make a decision and it's going to be great. I'm going to make a decision and there aren't going to be road bumps. I'm going to make a decision and it's just going to happen. That's not how this is going to work. And if you're approaching this process thinking that, you're going to be let down. And you're not going to be let down because you're doing a bad job or because something's wrong with you. Like, it's not because of that. It's because progress isn't linear. And if you expect linear progress, if you expect that you make a decision on Wednesday and you flawlessly execute it Thursday and for the rest of your life, you're setting yourself up to be angry. You're setting yourself up to be let down. And guess what happens when we are angry and we're let down as drinkers? We drink. when I first realized this, right? When I first understood and looked back at my own journey and saw all of the things that I tried to do, everything from trying to moderate to trying to guilt myself into it with my list of family, to trying to beat myself up, to trying to, I mean, just the list goes on and on. I recognize now that each and every one of those moments, each and every one of those attempts, each and every one of those things that I tried to do were progress. Was it the progress I wanted? No. I mean, I wanted any one of those to be like magic bullet, like done, here we are, right? But the fact of the matter is, each one of them taught me something. Each one of them moved me in the direction to where I am now. And it doesn't necessarily feel good in the moment. And I'm not arguing that it should feel good in the moment. What I am arguing, though, is that if you feel bad, if you're struggling with this right now and you're saying to yourself that you're not making progress, I want to suggest to you that maybe your idea of progress is a little unfair, right? Maybe what you're expecting as progress isn't really progress, right? Maybe what you're looking for as progress isn't actually progress. Maybe you're confusing progress with perfection. And that's something, again, that I see so many people do. And we end up in this situation where, hey, I've made a few days and then I have a day that isn't perfect, right? I have a couple of drinks one day and then I failed and then I feel bad. Now, a lot of people will ask me, like, okay, Scott, so if this is the case, right? If you're telling me that progress isn't linear, that it takes time, that it's not necessarily what we think it's going to be, that maybe you don't even know what it's going to look like when you set out on the journey, then how do we say, I've taken that baby step? Right? How do we say, all right, I am inching toward my goal. I'm going in the direction I want to go. And there's a very simple answer to this, right? And it's this. I want you to think back to the very beginning of your journey, for that first time when you said, you know what, I'm going to take this on and I'm going to change my relationship with alcohol. I'm going to shift what I'm doing. I'm going to move my drinking habits. I'm going to change how much I consume, right? Whatever it is that you say to yourself. I want you to think back to that very first time. And now I want you to think about all of the effort that you've put in. I want you to think about all of the books you've read, of the live videos you've watched, of the courses you've purchased, right? Of the journaling that you've done. I want you to also think about all the worrying that you've caused, all the anxiety that you've had, all the tears that come with this process. I want you to add all of that up, right? Add up all of the alcohol free days you have, add up all of the times you were alcohol free, and then you had a data point. That is your progress. That is your progress. That is you living your life, taking the information that you're getting out of every day and trying to put it into practice for you in one way or another. Sometimes you're going to hit it out of the park, sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're going to strike out. That's okay. Progress isn't perfection. Progress is continuing to put in the effort, even if that effort leads to a dead end, right? Progress is having a data point and then the next day going, whoa, I guess I need to change some stuff. Progress is, tuning into a video like this. Progress is reading a book. Progress is delaying when you start drinking by half an hour. Each and every one of these tiny little efforts is progress. And it may not make sense to you right now. You might look back over your journey and be like, I don't know what the hell I've been doing over the last year. That's okay. I promise you that it will come into focus. But as soon as you can stop confusing progress for achievement, as soon as you can recognize that progress and perfection are not the same thing, then you're going to be able to give yourself compassion. Then you're going to be able to actually feel the progress that you're making. And that, my friends, is going to help you move even faster. So I told you this concept was a little bit out there, and I know that it is. And if you haven't watched the other two lives I've done about failure and motivation. I suggest you check kind of both of those out as well, because what I'm trying to talk about in those lives and what I'm trying to wrap up here is the cyclical nature of this, the fact that it goes up and down, right? The fact that things change, things shift, and it's up to us to give ourselves the credit for what we're doing. It's up to us to say, you know what, I am making progress. Am I where I want to be? No. And I'll tell you, like personally for myself, like with alcohol, yes, I am where I want to be. But there's so many other things in my life. And I can say the same thing is true for Annie. I can say the same thing is true for our coaches, right? We're all working toward things. And if we confuse this idea of making progress with being perfect, we're going to have find that we're regularly in a position where we don't feel good. We don't feel good about ourselves. We think that our effort is wasted. I am here to tell you that there is not an ounce of effort or thought that is wasted as long as you continue to work. As long as you say, you know what, I'm not feeling motivated today, but I know I'm going to make some change. As long as you accept that the journey is not a straight line, it's going to take you all over the place. So anyway, let me take a break from that. There's a bunch of comments here. I want to encourage you guys to send in some questions if you have any. I'd love to answer them. Let's see. Mel says, encouraging for my Monday morning. Great. I'm glad. That's very encouraging. Angela said, I did 2 months last year and then I had a 7-month relapse. Now on day 24 and feeling very positive this time around. See, Angela, that whole thing is progress. That whole thing is progress. Those 2 months, what you learned during those 7 months and where you are now in those 24 days, that's your journey. That's progress. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yes, Roberta, thanks for saying that effort is progress. I'm so frustrated right now, but you are encouraging. That's what I want to do. Effort is progress. People spend so much time beating themselves up about not making progress, but they're pouring in so much effort. So I'm glad that that was helpful. Progress is not linear, exactly. Flying and sky lounges are my biggest trigger. Yeah, Christy, me too. That was a big one for me. That was a big one for me. And it took time for me to learn how to do that without alcohol, you know? And that was one thing that was so helpful for me. I remember going to the airport not long after I finally quit, and telling myself, all right, this is like, I'm a beginner. I'm a beginner at flying without alcohol. And that attitude was so massively helpful for me. It really helped me, you know, experience this in a way that was exciting and that didn't lead to shame. So, yes, I totally get that, Christy. David said, even if you stay alcohol free, there'll always be days when it's easy and days where it is not. That's totally true. You know, and the biggest thing that we can learn as going through all of this and is on those days when it's not, those days are teaching you something, right? Those days are telling you like, okay, I feel like there's an emotion or a thought that I'm trying to run away from or run toward here. What is it? Right? What is that thing? How can I dig into that? That's one thing that we do in our programs is really kind of focus on our thoughts and focus on what our experiences and emotions are telling us and doing the work on ourselves so that the next time that comes up, it's easier again. But yes, exactly, David, exactly. Amanda says, that sounds so like me. Progress is achievement, then frustration and disappointment. Yes, Amanda, this is, I want to maybe rephrase that a little bit. That entire thing is progress, right? Achievement, disappointment, setbacks, killing it, right? All of those things are progress. And I hate to see people take that credit away from themselves, right? I hate to see the effort and the time and the emotion put into this and to have people just say, well, you know what? I wasn't perfect, so none of it counts. I call BS on that. All of it counts. All of it counts. The path is the goal. Yes, I like that, David. That's very good. Hey, Lisa, glad you're here. I like the t-shirt idea. Progress is not perfection. That's right. Christy said, this is such an important message. I feel like people see I made it X amount of days sober post, and if they don't compare, it drains motivation. This progress message gets right to the solution of the stinking thinking. Yeah, I mean, comparison, and that's something I should probably do a live on as well, because you know what we will often talk about this idea of comparison. And we will talk about how our brains compare, right? It's inevitable for us to compare. We compare to other people's journeys, we compare to other things. And again, if your idea of progress is fully alcohol free days, back to back to back to back, and you're not giving yourself grace, and then someone has 2 months more than you, yes, it can be demotivating. Um, so the way that we like to suggest this hijacking of comparison is don't compare to yourself to someone else. And I know this is hard. Compare yourself to yourself, right? Compare the Christie of May 2nd, 2021 with the Christie of May 2nd, 2020, right? What does that look like? How does that feel? And here's the thing, right? As soon as we recognize that effort is progress, as soon as we recognize that we're doing this work and we're moving in a direction, then it's inevitable that we have made progress, even if it's only been a couple of alcohol-free days, even if it's been no alcohol-free days. You can see so clearly how, as you continue to put in the effort, your thinking continues to change. So I love that, Christy. This idea of not comparing, I think, is really important. And if you do feel the need to compare with yourself. There's progress there. There's progress there. Let's see, I got a conversation here. Um, Maria says over 6 months now. Holy cow, Maria, that's amazing. Congratulations. And I feel amazing. And it hasn't been a straight line, but the little choices and steps have made all the difference. And learning and self compassion and grace, self love has been key too. Yeah, Maria, that's so true. And it's absolutely at the heart of what This Naked Mind, This Naked Mind methodology is. And ultimately, ultimately, when I come on here and I'm telling you that all of your effort is progress, I want you to feel that some self-love. I want you to feel that. I believe this with all my heart. I mean, I can see now looking back at that, but I want you to know it now, and anyone who's in the middle of it to know it now, so that that self-grace, that self-love can be a little bit easier, because I know it's hard for us. But you have such an incredible story, Maria, and thank you for sharing. I can't believe it's been 6 months already. Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations on that. Let's see. And then Maria said, that said, I'm back at work this week. So some new ground to navigate. So more work to do, I expect. I love it. I love it. It is always more work to do. And the work is good. It's all progress. Keep us posted on how that goes, Maria. Lisa says, hi, joined late, so gone back to the start. Love these talks, really helpful. Wonderful to see so many people following, and nice to think that we're all in this together. Yes, we are all in this together. This is one of the things. I mean, this is why we have free community here. Community and recognizing that you're not alone is a massive part of this process. And to kind of circle around the theme from today, one of the reasons that that is so impactful is that other people will remind us that effort is progress, will remind us that we are changing, that we are growing when we can't see it in ourselves. So yes, being part of a community is massive. We all need it, right? We all have those times when we need to see, okay, I'm moving in the direction I want to. Maybe I'm not there. Maybe I haven't been perfect. Maybe I haven't gotten exactly where I want to be yet. But yes, community and not being alone is huge. So thank you for that, Roberta. And Sally says, love the support of this community. Yes, it's fantastic. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. All right, everybody, I'm going to wrap this up. I really want to thank you for hanging in there with me. I know, like I said, this got a little bit out there, but the reality of the situation is that progress is not perfection. And the effort that you're putting in, whether or not it's getting you to this place that you have predefined is your destination, is progress. The time you're spending doing this is progress. It might not feel like it now, but I can tell you, as time goes on, when you look back on your journey, you will see that all of the ups and downs that you're going through were ups and downs that you needed to go through to get to where you want to go. We often don't understand what the journey is going to look like when we start. And when we set ourselves up with expectations of exactly what it's going to be, we're just setting ourselves up to get let down. You are making progress. I want to say this one more time because it's so important. You are making progress, even when it doesn't feel like it. even when you feel like I am not motivated anymore. I don't know if I can continue to do this. You are making progress. Progress is baby steps. Progress sometimes is 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. That is progress. So I hope this was helpful to you guys. Again, one last time, I'll apologize for just kind of getting a little bit out there, but I appreciate you all watching. This is such an important thing for me to convey to you, because it's one of those things that I really wish I had understood at a different level when I was on my journey. So thank you all so much for hanging out with me for this last half hour. Before I go, if you would like to see some other examples of the non-linear journey, if you're curious about how other people have worked through all of this, please head on over to nakedlifestories.com. That's nakedlifestories.com. It's there that you can get a copy of our latest book about naked life stories, about people who, and these are true stories of people who have gone through from all different directions, from all different backgrounds and different places and experiences. It's their story going to where you want to go. So that will motivate you. So thank you so much for being here. Check out nakedlifestories.com. Totally free. We want to give you the book for free. So head on over there. Links in the description. Thank you for watching, and I will be back next week. Take care, everybody.